Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
I don't know about you all, but I have missed that intro for the last couple of days, and I'm rocking to it a little bit today. Anthony Harwig alongside Ty Bartell as we're back. I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving break and had a wonderful holiday with family, friends, whoever you spent it with. Ate a bunch of food that hit the spot, whatever spot that is, and I've never understood that phrase, but I hope it hit the spot. Hope it was a good holiday, and here we are back on a Monday edition of Running Point Tie. And because we took a couple of days off for Thanksgiving, we have a whole lot to recap and to kind of go over. And I want to remind everybody that a bunch of stories and recaps are on ysnlive.com. So if we don't get to every single game that happened between Wednesday and today, you can definitely find it on the website, ysnlive.com. You can check out our social media pages as well for final score graphics and updates like that. So make sure to head out to all of that, if you're looking for an in-depth recap of the days that we were gone.
Yeah, no doubt. As plenty of basketball, some football went on around the weekend, but I think a lot of people in Northeastern Ohio don't even want to talk football right now of any capacity after this weekend. So we'll talk basketball right now, as there was a lot of competitive games, some big ones. How about Burdovich for Heartland Christian? There was a lot of big things that happened over this weekend.
Well, I guess we should start with that because when you drop 59 points,
absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Just stepping on the floor and saying, planting the flag, this is my gym. It was a neutral site game to open the season. 59, like we knew Burnett could score, but opening the season with a 59-point game, it's ridiculous.
I know Coach Scott, even despite what Heartland was able to do, and they had a fantastic record last year, but Coach Scott, I know he would probably prefer this team kind of fly under the radar, but there's no way that they're flying.
Not after that.
that wakes everybody up, and they say, okay, there's some ballers over there in Heartland.
They won 101-72 in that game over Mineral Ridge. By the way, if you see pictures from that game and you're confused, they were not playing Lisbon, but there was a mishap with Mineral Ridge's uniforms, and Mineral Ridge had to kind of borrow Lisbon alternates. So it looked like Heartland.
What a story, too. That's going to be one of those things people look at like 5, 10, 15 years from now and like, what's going on here? It says Mineral Ridge, but it does say Lisbon on that front jersey. And only Anthony Hartwick and you insiders at YSN will know that.
I feel bad for the people that had to make the scorebook because they had to change numbers and everything. Be like, this kid's now number 3. Yeah. This kid's now number 15.
But no, Heartland Christian coming out of a big offensive slobber knocker, and what that was, 101-72. When you score 178 combined points in a basketball game.
Here's the other thing. People say, well, they gave up 72, though. But when you're playing that fast to score 101, it's a lot easier to give up points. And we saw that a lot last year, and we're seeing that now with that. Playing high-tempo basketball, obviously the other team's going to have more opportunities to score as well.
These are 8-minute quarters, too, not 12. So, there's no shot clock either. So, these kids, most of the time, are probably shooting within 14 seconds of getting down to the thing. So, they're probably not even using the full 24. They're probably using more 14 to 18 seconds to get it off too. So, I mean, most of the time, at least when you're dropping 101, you're scoring pretty quickly and you're not holding the ball too long.
They won that game and they went over and won against Western Reserve the next day, 69-60. And Burdett had, I believe, 18 to finish the weekend with 77 points total, which was a tournament record, a Lisbon Tip-Off Classic record. He won, obviously, Player of the Tournament, MVP. Heartland won the tournament. They were 2-0. Just a great weekend to be a Lion.
I also won the tournament by picking Heartland for both games, so I'll take the double check on that one as well.
Did you?
I did. I definitely picked Heartland boys over Western Reserve boys.
Yeah, you did.
I knew I did that, and I would assume. I think we both picked them over.
We both did. That was not something that we split on. That was a great performance. On the other end of it, Lisbon got a 55-52 over Middle Ridge the next day on Saturday. A big win for them, a dramatic win, 3-point victory. And they split the tournament as well as they fell to Western Reserve.
And you got me on that one because I said Lisbon over Western Reserve, and I think you got me on the Western Reserve over Lisbon.
After we get done with all these recaps, we'll go back and we'll just kind of see where we stand because we have a lot of games to pick tonight too.
That Lisbon Tip-Off Classic, though, what a great tournament that was, though. And, I mean, saw a bunch of great games, great performances as it came through, and it was a success, I think, as it is every year.
Let's start talking about some of these games that you and me were at because we have some post-game interviews to get to. And Ty, I guess we'll go back to the first games on Friday that we were at between the last time we saw each other. You were at Fitch, and Cheney – here's a news alert. Cheney is still very good at basketball, and they flexed their muscles in the Falcons' nest. 66-33, they got the win. Talk about this game, what you saw from Cheney, what made them so dominant. Not an offensive juggernaut game, but the defense against Fitch was just phenomenal. Holding a team to 33 points. I don't care who you're playing, varsity, boys team to 33 points. That's a feat.
If you were listening to Coach McGaughy, too, on the sideline, you know that he was preaching defense the entire game too. And I mean, with good reason. You see, when you have the athleticism and you're quick on your feet like Cheney is, and that's all guys, and they're not directionally, well, not directionally challenged, I guess, height-wise challenged in that aspect. They have plenty of height, 6'6" guys and Clive Wilson, guys, plenty of guys at 6'4", 6'3", and above. But when you have that mixed with athleticism, mixed with long arms and legs, that's a nightmare to play defense against because these guys are not only they're bringing it wingspan wise like a bunch of pterodactyls on the court, but they're also keeping up with you pace for pace, step for step, and full court pressing you. And the key to getting out of the press is passing. And I think the biggest problem was Todd Simons was the primary ball handler for Fitch. And now they're going to have to try to figure out who their point guard is, who's going to be that guy that is primarily handling the ball. And until they figure that out, you're probably going to see Hudson do it again tonight too. A lot of teams are going to bring that full court press to Fitch and make them and force them into making decisions ball handling wise and passing wise. Cheney executed. Cheney created a lot of turnovers. Cheney scored on the other end off of a lot of turnovers. And this is a Cowboys team that looks like a real deal this year.
Yeah, and you had the chance to speak to assistant coach Andre Brown due to Coach Magai is a pretty busy dude. So
he was getting interviewed and bombarded, so they gave us Brown. And Coach Brown does a great job over there, too, as McGaughy's right-hand man, and they do a great job with that program. So
when you're such a superstar, sometimes YSN, and we'll give someone else FaceTime. We're okay.
Yeah, no problem, as Coach Brown's still influential in that program as well.
So let's hear from Coach Brown. We'll come back, and then we'll preview your player interview for Cheney as well.
Welcome back, everybody. We are here with Coach Brown, Assistant Coach Brown of the Cheney Cowboys, coming off of a 66-33 victory over the Fitch Falcons. And, Coach, I just got to say, compliment you guys on the defensive pressure. I mean, is that kind of practice-wise what we are looking forward to seeing from the Cowboys the rest of the season?
Yes, I mean, first game, of course, we got some things to work on, but that's the way we're going to play. That's our identity.
Looking at that, too, and just highlighting some of the big playmakers, too, I thought Isaiah Williams, you mentioned him before the game, but really his ball movement and ball handling skills are truly tremendous. How important is that to really making this offense go, and how influential is he in his passing game to it?
I mean, with the bigs we have, it's essential. I mean, if you can get those big guys the ball in there, it's going to open up the lanes for him. It's going to make things a lot easier, and he does a great job of that.
And talking about that too, and talking about your bigs, I also got to say, I mean, rebounding wise, you guys handled pressure well. You guys boxed out very well too. Looking at this now, and of course, you know your schedule is going to be very tough too. What do you want to take away from this game as things to improve on, and what do you want to take away as sort of, hey, let's keep trying to do this some more?
I mean, when you play defense the way we play, we really want to cut our fouls down. We want to put them on the line, get them free shots. And I think we did that a little bit. I mean, but first game, jitters. I mean, they're a little excited. So, as always, first thing we got to work on.
What was the biggest surprise for you on either side of the ball? It could be emotionally, it could be on the floor, but what was the biggest surprise for you from this team tonight?
I don't know. I'm always critical of everything. So, first game, I figured the jitters would be there. I mean, we have a couple guys. They know those guys. So, I mean, when you have that type of atmosphere going on, it's kind of hard to get the emotion together. So, it was good to get those emotions out of the game and get everything going and get playing. Just being consistent. You want to play 4 quarters of basketball. I think we played about 3.5, maybe. I mean, you know, we won the game, and we wanted to win the game. But I think just playing consistent. If we get consistency, we'll be great.
No doubt, an impressive first win for the Cheney Cowboys as they go 1-0. Look to play again tomorrow. We will have the player of the game and Isaiah Williams on right after this. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Have a good one.
So that was Coach Brown, Coach Andre Brown, the assistant coach over at Cheney Ty, and man, you said it. You could hear it in his voice. The coaches' voices have to get used to basketball season too, a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, coaches, I mean, what we're looking at too, and I mean, both Andre Brown and Coach McGaughy work very, very well together, and you could see that just the dynamic and the chemistry that they have too. And I think that's important. And we know, you know, there's certain, and like we said, and that's why I love basketball coaching and coaching in general in this area, because there's no one size fits all. And we've seen coaches where it's, I mean, and I don't say this in a bad way, because there's coaches that were like this that have won plenty of championships, but there's coaches that rule like a dictatorship. You rule under my rule, you listen to me, what I say, and we're going to build a culture that way. Other coaches, they use other guys as well too, and they bring in input from their other coaches too. And you could really see like Coach Brown and Coach McGaughy kind of are turning on the same gear right now. And McGaughy, right when he needs something, there's Coach Brown. What subs do you need? Who do you need? How about this guy for this guy right now? He's in foul trouble. Let's bring him in, you know. And when you have that dynamic and that constant communication, I think it not only helps with the coaching staff, but it helps with the team as well, knowing that there's that open communication, and when they see it from the coaches, it's easier for them to implement it on the floor and amongst themselves.
And I think as the game develops, you see more and more coaches succeed with that mind of thinking rather than the other one was saying, you know, this is a dictatorship. This is my way or the highway. You know, that worked in old school basketball, but I feel like as the kids develop, as we see more and more talent get developed early, I just feel like more and more times than not, they're going to be more responsive nowadays to the approach where, you know, you're working together with your coaching staff, showing them this is how we want you to work together as a team.
Well, especially now when you have ability to have a decent amount of people on the staff to utilize them too, especially if you're going to bring in these great minds too. And you know what, as I think the biggest thing we found out and why that whole rule by one doesn't work out for every team, and it still can, and I'm not saying it doesn't. I know it can for some sports, and I'm not discounting any kind of coaching style, but I think the biggest thing what we've realized is that just like coaching isn't one size fits all in what can be successful, kids themselves aren't coachable in a one size fits all scenario either. They all don't respond and are all not receptive to the same ways of coaching. So having a multitude of coaches that have different, not styles, you all want the same identity and same culture, the same goal you're working towards, but you need to have guys of different approaches and how to implement these things you need to reach your goals.
Ty, you had a chance to also talk with the Baird Brothers player of the game, Isaiah Williams, after this game over Cheney. Talk real quick before we play his interview, what you saw from him and what made you kind of give him the player of the game.
Well, honestly, what it came down to was, I mean, yes, he could score with the best of them too, and he's able to shoot it from deep. He's able to take it to the hole. He's not afraid to rebound. But I mean, passing wise, when you have bigs like Cheney does too, and we'll say it too, some of the bigs not the greatest ball handlers, but you play through that point guard, and it's up to your point guard. Get your bigs the ball down low. And that's really what Cheney was exploiting too. And it was thanks to a lot of great passes coming off of what Williams was doing. I mean, the ball was in his hand most of the time, and he was either creating opportunities for himself or his teammates the whole night. So I feel like it was right to give him player of the game.
All right, without further ado, let's hear from Mr. Isaiah Williams and what he had to say after Cheney's big win over Fitch last night. Not Friday night, please.
Welcome in, everybody. We're here with a post-game interview. Our player of the game, Isaiah Williams, 13 points, 6 assists, and 5 steals on the night. He is our Barrett Brothers player of the game in a 66-33 victory over the Falcons. Well, Isaiah, I mean, talk to me a little bit. I mean, senior leader on this team, and honestly, I think what we saw from that Cowboys team defensively was really, really impressive. Is this something Coach McGaughey constantly stresses in practice, and if so, how do you guys think you executed tonight?
Yeah, we always sit down. Like, practice is always a challenge. We was getting blew by a little bit, but we had to get back on it. We really don't do the blow by, run, jump, you know.
I got you. Looking at tonight, though, too, I mean, your passing was dynamic as well as your offense. As a point guard, do you have a preference passing to scoring? And if so, why one over the other?
I like to pass more. Share the wealth. Let us share the wealth.
I got you. As when you talk about that too, and looking at some of your bigs, Clive Wilson does a great job. Cameron Sly did a great job tonight. How important is it for them to create that space inside and really be doing the work inside for you to be able to create those opportunities for them?
If they're making shots, we let it work inside out. Bigs first. Always feed them.
I got you. And that's lastly, my final question for you. Looking at this team, and just looking at the hard-nosed mentality of these guys, and just how these guys never quit and they're always constantly running, what does it mean to be a Cowboy to you?
Never give up, always fight.
As you hear it here first, Isaiah Williams, the player of the game, win over the Fitch Falcons 66-33. Thank you so much, Isaiah.
Thank you.
That was Isaiah Williams, the player of the game from Cheney's 66-33 win over Fitch. They actually went on and won a very close game the next day as well.
Reynoldsburg? Was it Reynoldsburg that they played? They played down in Columbus.
It was a neutral site game.
It was it was a close one.
I think it was 72-69. It was very close.
Expect a lot of games like that on Cheney's schedule because they are not shying away from competition. This is a team that wants to bring a basketball state championship back to the Youngstown area. And I tell you what, folks, they have a pretty solid chance at doing so. And they're going to have a very tough schedule ahead of them. So it's going to be exciting to see how they perform under these tough teams.
Keeping it with Friday, Canfield opened the season as part of a boys-girls doubleheader with Marlington, and Canfield looked really impressive because they fought through ugliness of a first game to get a win over a very good Marlington team, 56-51. It wasn't the prettiest game ever. I mean, both teams kind of struggled with some rust, some ugly-looking possessions that were just not coherent to good basketball. But I'll tell you what, when it mattered most, Canfield hit some big shots, and they played really good defense. Locked down Marlington for the final, I want to say, like 4 minutes of the game. They finished the game on a 7-0 run, something like that. It was just a really strong performance from Canfield, and I think the best teams find ways to win when they're not playing at their best, and that's what they did.
Well, especially, too, when you see teams, and Canfield might not exactly be this case, but a lot of teams, especially early on in the season, too, and I mean almost the entire season, I should say, but a lot of teams have that mentality of defense first, and it helps out tremendously, especially early on in the season.
Yes, I was about to say that, especially early in the season.
When you're not getting a bunch of guys back, and when you don't have those offense is always something that takes some time, especially when you're bringing new guys in. That's always going to take time. There's going to be rust. There's going to be learning curves, and there's going to be bumps in the road. That's why a lot of coaches go with that defensive first mentality, because you can win those early season games while you're figuring it out on offense by defense alone. Just say, hey, we could figure out to score enough points on offense. Let's just hold them on defense, and they'll never win. Kind of like Coach Gunther's mentality. I'd rather win 1-0 than 100-99. And it's that kind of mentality going into.
Imagine.
Yeah, I know that would be something. But I mean, that's the kind of mentality that I feel like a lot of coaches have too. And when you have talent that plays other sports, I think it's a good one to have, to be a defensive first type of team.
Yeah, and it's like I think you nailed it with the point, especially early in the season, because a lot of teams, especially this year more than most, because we see a lot of teams lose a lot of seniors from last year that were special players. So a lot of teams this year are trying to find their offensive identity, trying to find ways to score, trying to find people that are going to step up. When you're doing that, the one thing that can get you through those struggles is simply playing really good defense. Defense doesn't have slumps, and you don't need a lot of I don't want this to come off the wrong way. More so than offense. So let's say this. More so than offense, it's not reliant on talent to play good defense. If you're a good athlete and you're putting a good effort on the floor, you can pretty much play good defense. Move your feet, stay in front of the other person, keep your hands up in the air.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, yeah.
There is some talent and skill that comes into
The
some
skill
more
part that
advanced
comes
stuff.
in is playing defense without fouling and getting yourself in foul
Blocking,
trouble. Yeah,
timing, and everything like that.
yeah, that's where the skill. But like you're right, as far as it is, it's athleticism and effort to stay in front of your opponent, because it's just trying to stay in front of your opponent for the most
I can't
part.
tell you how many players I've seen develop from freshmen to seniors offensively and given time to develop on varsity because they play such good defense that they can't be taken off.
Well, the great thing is too is like you said, if you have athleticism and you could stay in front of somebody, a lot of coaches are going to take that on defense. And then if you start developing your skills on defense, like you said, the blocking, the stealing, you're reading the passing lanes, and you're getting yourself in between the passing lanes, getting yourself in between the passer and the shooter they're trying to get to, and blocking and clogging the lanes. That's where the basketball IQ comes in. But you'll get that too if you play a lot of good defense and you take your defense seriously. And I'll tell you that a lot of coaches will take a defensive superstar. Oh, every coach, and no matter what level, will take a defensive superstar.
It reminds me kind of baseball, softball, whichever one you want to say. I think a lot of coaches, especially in the catcher's position, you'll see a lot of catchers. I don't care what you hit, go out there and be a good defensive catcher. If you can get me, a 230 average at least.
Anything on offense is a cherry on top of the sundae.
Some shortstops too. I mean, not every shortstop is an amazing hitter, but if you're going out there and you're owning the middle of that infield, then we'll sacrifice 50 points of batting average for your good defense.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of teams will too. A lot of teams will go out there hey, there's been plenty of players throughout history of basketball that aren't known for their scoring, but defensively, they're in the Hall of Fame because
one of them, this guy back here knows pretty well.
Yeah, that guy back there knows pretty well. I mean, there is a spot for those type of players too on each team too. And I think defensively, when you see, I get excited for that too. And I think, that's actually a good question too. What is the most exciting non-scoring play in basketball?
I think it's the transition block. And
you like the transition, the coming back, the behind the back block off the glass?
Anytime it looks like it's going to be an easy score for the offense, and all of a sudden defense says no. Whether that be a transition like coast to coast, or a player on the perimeter gets beat and he has a clear shot to the lane and a kid slides over and blocks him at the last minute. Anytime, in my opinion, anytime that there is a block on what looks like a certain bucket, that's super exciting.
Those are exciting too. I don't know. For me, because I've always been a passing man, so I love seeing just beautiful dimes being dropped too, no matter how. Yeah.
If it's a good dime, it's going to score.
Yeah. But usually,
can you call that a non-scoring play?
No, I mean, because it's not a score. It's still an assist is not a score. It's not, because I mean, like typically when people say the most exciting play in basketball,
absolutely a score, because you have to score to be given an assist.
It's
So an assist is absolutely a score.
it's a score in a sense, but the one getting credited is not the one getting credited with the assist is not the one that is scoring.
Okay, fine.
When I'm talking scoring plays, what I meant is normally when you talk any type of what is the most exciting play in basketball, prior to circa 2005, a lot of people are going to say the dunk. After that, people are going to say the 3-point shot, but not a lot of people are going off of the dunk and 3-point shot. I don't think
dunks are more exciting, especially in high school because you don't see them that much.
Well, yeah, in high school too. I think it's exciting though too when you get a guy that is just guy or girl that is just clipping threes and just is on fire and just won't stop. That's always exciting too.
All right.
But now so many things in basketball. But circling back to my original point about defense and how important that is too. And like I said, a lot of teams too will find. A lot of these teams playing the way they are in November aren't going to be the way they are in February. They're going to figure it out offensively. A lot of teams are going to come around late. But a lot of the teams that are going to make their path to the playoffs, well, not to the playoffs, but path to a higher seed a lot easier right now are the ones that are playing good defense right now. And those are the ones that you're going to see seeded pretty well, I think, come tournament time.
Let's go back to the Canfield game and hear from Coach Todd McElroy after his win over Marlington, and then we'll hear from the player of the game from that game as well, Jake Schneider, who was a big defensive problem in that fourth quarter, and he also scored 11 points for his team. So here's Coach McElroy first, and then we'll hear from the player of the game for Canfield, Jake Schneider. Anthony Hartwig here with Canfield head coach Todd McElroy. What a first win, 56-51. What did it take to guts out this one?
Say that one more time. Sorry.
What did it take to get this one?
I think it all comes down to like fundamentals and what we have to do defensively. I think was the big key to our victory tonight. I have to credit the way our guys really take the heart to do conditioning and be in good shape at the end of that game. I think defense and conditioning really won that game for us tonight.
When you talk about the end of the game, you ended it on a 12-0 run. I mean, what do you see from your team just to guts out a really hard-fought win?
I know we turned them over a couple times there in their backcourt, which helped us. And, we just got our eyes up and we're seeing down the floor and saw Jake Schneider down there and making some big layups for us and getting some deflections. And, it's just some of those plays that when you go back, I'll watch film and I won't remember that happened because it just happened so fast. In fact, it's actually hard to believe it was a 12-0 run. I thought it would have been much less than that, but just our conditioning and our defense really did the trick for us tonight.
Kids that had quiet games up into that fourth quarter stepped up big. Russo, Pedro made a couple of big buckets. How about the depth of this team and what that means to you?
Yeah, I think the challenge is for us as coaches to make sure we're putting guys in the right spots and putting them in at the right time in the game. We saw Pedro do a good job. I was just telling a reporter just now that, I remember Dylan Shapiro getting some big offensive rebounds down the stretch there to really keep plays alive. Dylan's a guy who comes off the bench and he's a shooter for us. I don't expect him to rebound too much, but he did a great job just kind of stepping out of his comfort zone and being a rebounder more than he was a shooter.
You said it, 21 more to go. How do you use this one as momentum going forward?
Well, you always want to start your first game on a win. You don't want to think about maybe we had a setback there. Do we use a moral victory? But it's always nice to watch film after a win rather than a loss. So, there are some things that we definitely need to do to get better. And we'll use film and perfect on that as we prepare for Tuesday against the Lakeview Bulldogs.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time with us, and congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Anthony Hartwig here with Jake Schneider, tonight's Coach's Pizza player of the game. Jake, what a first game to get win. Talk about what it felt like to finally get back out there and get back on the basketball court.
It was great. The team came together. It was a big win. First game, good atmosphere. Everything just worked out at the end.
Real back and forth game. Arlington battled. You guys had a couple of runs too. What did it take to kind of fight back every time they would take a lead?
It was a long stretch. We were down at the third. It was like 8-point game. We just fought back, kept fighting. Coach said, "Don't give up." We didn't give up. We came out with a win. It was a great team effort.
You had some huge blocks. Talk about what it feels like to get those big rejections and big moments.
It's great. I love blocking. That's my favorite part of the game. When I'm like around 6'6", it's great.
You also added 11 points on the game. Talk about this depth of this team and how many people you have to score.
We're great. We have 3-point shooters. We have bigs. We could really do it all this year. We have about 10, 11 people depth. It's great.
despite the win, I know there are things you guys want to get better at and things you want to keep improving on. How do you use this game as momentum heading forward?
Come tomorrow, get a good practice in, and just keep going from then.
All right, Jake, congratulations on the win. Good luck the rest of the season. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Thank you.
So that was Coach McElroy from Canfield and Jake Schneider. They got a big win over Marlington, 56-51. And as I said in that interview, ended the game on a 12-0 run. They were down 51-44 in the fourth quarter and were able to just lock down on defense, made a couple of big steals in the front court, as Coach McElroy said, and get it down to that big 6'6" Jake Schneider for some easy.
I was going to say, was he just issuing like a little bit of a warning to anybody, making sure they knew he's 6'6"? Like, that's what it sounded like. He's like, I love that. I love that. He's like, blocking's my favorite part of the game. And by the way, I'm 6'6", so you better watch out coming into the paint. But no, that's definitely a great game for Schneider too. And like we said, you can't teach height, and it certainly helps in basketball.
Yeah, interviewing him for me was like,
yeah, you're looking at a tower.
I wanted to get the hydraulic on my wheelchair.
You need to get yourself a little drone, one of those camera drones. You can just fly it. It's just flying above you with your phone hanging off of it. That'd actually be a really cool feature. A Ysn drone. It's just being used to be high level.
It's just hovering.
Just over your head. It's like a little bit, it's almost like a halo. It's just a drone that's just hovering over your head. Using it as an interview camera. Oh my God. And here's Anthony with his, like, I could just see you when you want a post-game interview, you just break out the drone from the backpack and start flying it in the
always following me throughout the whole game. It's
just stays stationary at the top of your head.
Green halo. We'll get there, Ty. We'll get the technology.
We'll get there. We certainly will. But hey, that was a great win for Canfield to start off on the boys' side of things. And like we said, this AAC is going to be so competitive this year. It's going to be fun.
Let's continue with some more Friday scores. We went back and we didn't get the score, but we will tell you the score. Western Reserve beat Lisbon 62-43 on Friday night. And once again, both those teams went and split the next day. Western Reserve lost to Heartland and Lisbon beat Mineral Ridge. You look at Louisville, they have a big win under Tom Siegfried to open up their season against Maslin Perry, 71-48. They mean business. They flex. We've had Coach Siegfried on the show, and I think he's going to get that milestone this year, the way they look at it.
They have so much height on that team, and they are playing a physical brand of basketball, and that is always fun to see. Both Louisville teams, boys and girls side, they're gonna be exciting watches this year. Don't worry.
71-48, big win for Louisville to open the season on Friday night. And you look at Lakeview, they got the 55-48 win over Champion. This might be the biggest surprise for the weekend for me. Not because I didn't expect a lot from Lakeview, but because I expected so much from Champion, the way they ended their season last year, what they were returning. Now, this doesn't mean that they can't go and have a really good season. It doesn't mean that they're a bad team. People have bad nights. It's definitely the first game of the season. It happens. But big win for Lakeview against a team that I think everyone in the basketball community expects to be pretty good this year.
Yeah, and Lakeview is actually one of those teams, too, that might actually be a wild card in that NE8. I mean, who knows? Who really knows who's coming out on top of these NE8s? Because it's wide open. Struthers lost a lot on the boys' side. Poland South Range lost a lot on the girls' side. I mean, it really is. It's wide open on both sides. So Lakeview getting an early win, non-conference albeit, but it is an early win for them.
The Canfield girls fell to Marlington, and Marlington ended this game on a 34-6 run between the middle of the third quarter and the end of the game. It was just one of those things. Canfield was up 5 at halftime, 25-20. They came out. McElroy hit a couple of threes. They were a 7-0 run out of the gate. It was 32-20. And then it's hard to explain. I mean, Marlington initially went on I believe it was a 14-0 run, if I'm not mistaken, just to get back into the game and take a lead. And Kelsey Edelman had 11 out of those 14 points. I mean, the definition of putting the team on her back and saying we aren't losing this game. And then once Marlington had momentum, it was just over. I mean, Canfield, their offense just stalled. They couldn't find room. They kept turning the ball over. Their shots weren't falling anymore. Just one of those nights where their offense was going well, and then in the middle of that third quarter, just hit a brick wall called Marlington's defense.
That's why coaches will always stress playing 4 quarters of basketball, and you have to play the clock out because, I mean, it's a game of runs, and that's something every coach will tell you, and everybody that's ever watched basketball will tell you. It's a game of runs, and all about can you curb the run that they go on, and can you handle the pressure that they bring? And, I mean, yeah, early on in the season, we saw that Marlington brought the pressure. Canfield couldn't answer the early test, but it's something where you need those kind of things to happen so you can build on it, so you could figure out ways to stop it. And yeah, it was a snowball effect, honestly, for Canfield. It felt like once it started rolling, it just wasn't stopping, and it just got bigger and bigger. Not the Cards' night that night, but Lady Cardinals will definitely look to refocus.
I'll tell you what, they really missed Summer Samarone when the pressure started to fold and they started to turn the ball over more in the front court. They really missed that ball handling ability that would have let them get past that press defense that Marlington put on when they felt the momentum shift. And I feel like when Summer Samarone gets back, teams won't be able to do that so easily against Canfield because she's, without doubt, in my opinion, the best ball handler on the team.
Yeah, and you know what? This is a team, too, that's beaten some very good opponents early on in the season as well. So they're going to be fine. Every team's going to have one of these games usually in the season, too, where maybe they should have won or maybe they were up at some point and they just couldn't handle it or a comeback happens. This isn't the first one you're going to see this season, folks, and a lot of YSN teams are going to be on the receiving end and the giving end of this year. So don't worry. It's a long season, a lot of games like that to come.
We didn't go on record because no one wants to talk after that kind of loss. But I was just chatting with Coach Reel after the game, just shooting it for a little bit, and he does expect Samarone back pretty soon. He just said flat out, he's like, we didn't our everything that we talk about, everything we coached, just kind of went out the window. And sometimes that happens. You tell the team, hey, go do A, B, and C. They look at you and say yes, and they go out on the floor and they do D, E, F, and you're sitting there thinking, where'd that go?
And then when you get turnovers and then they start leading a comeback, and I mean, you can go into panic mode, and that might have been what happened.
And that's the beauty of coaching at this level. sometimes you say A, B, C, they say yes, and then you go out and they do D, E, F, and you look at your assistant coach, you're like, what just happened? But hey, it's all good. Canfield, I still think, plays extremely good defense. A lot of Marlington's points in that run came off of turnovers, not in the half court, breaking down Canfield's defense. So I think their defense is still one of the best in the area, and I think they'll be fine. I think they're a really good team, and they might have needed humbled a little bit, and maybe that will get it to them. So we stay with we move to Saturday, and Ty, we'll start once more with the games that we were at and the games we have interviews for. Louisville, man, did their girls look impressive? 77-52 over Charlotte.
3 girls and 20+ points too.
Whew. That's a statement win for the Louisville girls. They are I think 2-1 on this season, 2 wins in a row. And
Coach Kudo too. Coach Kudo has come back to coach the Lady Leopards too. After coaching them from 1999 to 2008, he had the 3rd most program wins in the school's history in that stretch. So coming back and immediately you see what he's trying to do and what he's trying to implement. Too many threats on the court that defensively you just can't stop everybody, and that's what it feels like when Louisville stepped on the court. I'm coming in with 3 viable 20+ point scorers. What do you do? What do you do to stop that?
Speaking of Coach Kudo, you had the chance to catch up with him. Let's hear from him after Louisville's big win over Chardon on Saturday afternoon.
Welcome back, everybody. As now I am here with the head coach, Coach Kudo of the Louisville Lady Leopards. And Coach, what a fun game that was. How was that from a coaching perspective?
When you're able to bring that kind of energy into the gym and you see so many different girls contribute the way that they did, that's a lot of fun. It's a good time.
Talking about that too, when you have 3 players scoring 20-plus points from the other side of the coin, how hard is that defensively, do you think, for teams to game plan against something like that?
Well, that's our goal, that we have the kind of athletes that any number of young ladies that we throw out there on the court, they could have that kind of a night. And we were just very fortunate that this afternoon, we had those 3 young ladies step up with the consistency that we're looking for. But they're not alone. We have others that on any given night can contribute the same manner.
I kind of want to use this as kind of a double as a coach's corner so we can kind of meet that team segment too. And obviously we got some looks at some of the younger faces, but as you know, the players we see and how we see these teams looking in November, they're not going to look the same come February too. So who are some of those other younger players that you think might have an impact down the stretch for this team?
Well, actually, I want to start with some of the upperclassmen because we have 2 post players that are out. We have 2 juniors. We have 6-foot Hallie Weaver. She is out and she should be rejoining us soon. We have 5'8" Olivia Maley that she'll be coming back. And then we have senior captain Kendall Loy that should be returning to us very soon. And she is a game changer as well in what she's going to bring to the court. Some of the other younger ones that we are counting to step up and contribute. Of course, our JV team is also 2-1, and we have our eyes on a couple of those young ladies as well. And the way that they bring to the table. As a matter of fact, we mix them in. Alexa Wasera is one that we mix into the varsity practices, and she does a wonderful job handling the rock, sitting down, playing some great D. We have Courtney Barwick, who's a freshman. Now, Courtney wasn't able to really start for us tonight because it was we thought we were going to have to scratch her from even the lineup because she rolled an ankle down at Claymont the other day. But our trainer, Ann, did a wonderful job getting her ready. And so we were just testing the waters with Courtney this afternoon, seeing if she could hang it the way that she did. And she may, in her mind, have been a little bit off, but we really enjoyed what she brought to the table again today as well. And again, as a freshman, the ceiling is very high for her.
Obviously, too, this is a Chardon team that can put up points, and they're capable of scoring a lot, but I think swarming defense, that's something a coach has to be proud of. Talk to me from the defensive side and just the turnovers the girls were able to create today and how much that's going to help down the stretch.
Well, we also know that Coach brought a young team into the gym today, and so what we tried to do is we tried to cut the court in half, and we were trying to take away anything that was going to move to the right, so we were sitting on the right hand, making them go to the left to start their offense from the left side, and that may have just confused them a little bit, so to speak, and got them out of the rhythm that they normally would be in. But you're right. We prefer pressure defense. We want to get up in your face, and we want to make you as uncomfortable as we possibly can, because when that takes place, that's when the turnovers begin and the transition points are also.
Obviously, this is a community that you hold pretty dear to your heart. It's a community you've coached in before, and you've had some very good success with it before. What does it mean coming back to this Louisville community and just having the support of Leopard Nation back behind you again?
I am humbled by the reception that myself and my staff have received in jumping back into the gym this year. And we're thrilled to be able to work with young ladies of such great character and integrity, a work ethic that is phenomenal. They are old school through and through. There's not a single young lady that steps into this gym or in the classroom that doesn't possess a wonderful work ethic. Nobody's allergic to hard work. Everybody's willing to get after it. And when you have that kind of environment that you're building around and being a part of every day, you feel very fortunate to be a part of that.
And we know the culture you're trying to build here and the culture you have built and bringing back your staff. And you talked about the reception you felt. I just want to give you the opportunity to shout out your staff, too, before we go and highlight the other big proponents of this program of Louisville.
We have at the 7th grade level, and trust me, we believe big in our middle school coaches and what they're teaching and the fundamentals. And we have Dan Edgen, who is assisting Jerry Fursenko at the 7th grade level. We have a gifted, just a great 8th grade coach in Coach Dan Moody, who has had varsity experience as well. And he's leading the 8th grade charge, and he helps us out up on the varsity as well. Then our JV coach, that is Chad Weaver. He's been with the program a number of years here. And then the gentleman that handles our defense, and I'm in very close connection with him, that's Corey Swope. And then We have Brian Layton, who is calling most of the shots, if not all of the shots on the offensive end. We do work as a team, but the gentlemen are so passionate and knowledgeable about what they bring to the table that it's contagious for the athletes as well.
Coach, my final question for you too, and I mean, you look at what you've been able to do here, and I think it's impressive too. You start off 2-1. Next game, though, it looks like on the slate is going to be Wednesday, December 1st at Boardman too. This one's going to be on YSN for anyone that can't make it out to the game. But if you can make it out to the game, what's kind of the reason to go out there and check out this game, and what are you kind of expecting from the Lady Spartans?
Well, to my understanding, they have a very big post player. And of course, we are not that big when it's all said and done, but we're going to continue to be scrappy. Boardman's a much larger school. They're going to have their opportunity to bring in any number of athletes at us. And of course, in the past, they have had a wonderful program. We're still finding our way with them. We're going to break down some film here within the next 48 hours and get a better handle on what Boardman's going to bring to the table. But again, we're confident that if we do what we do very well, a lot of positives come from that in preparation for Youngstown Boardman or any other team we may come up against. But they are good, and they're going to be a challenge. And the bottom line is we enjoy a challenge.
Yep, no doubt. You could, of course, catch that one at Boardman High School, and if not, it will, of course, be on the ysnlive.com. Anthony Hartwig will have the call. Coach, thank you so much for your time today. Congrats on the win, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you again real soon.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach Kudo with the great. That's a guy that doesn't need any kind of
introduction. He doesn't. No, he doesn't. I want him to read books to me because he has such a great. He's a great speaker too. I mean, just a fantastic speaker and a fantastic interview. He's one of those guys too, like Coach Gunther. I feel like. I talked to him and I was like, wow, I've already eclipsed like 5 minutes on this. And it's like, I could talk to him probably for another hour too, but the gym was getting empty and we had to get going. But no, Coach Kudo, coming in last second too, to come in and coach this team. And you know what, the girls I think are taking to him. And like you said, Kendall Loy is still looming there as a player that hasn't yet to be on this court, as well as a couple other starters. Maylee is another one. This is going to be a fun team when they're healthy. Oh, my goodness.
But for now, the player of the game went to Kelsey Adelman, who we know very well from volleyball. Had a great volleyball season, a great game for her. And you had a chance to talk with her, talk about what her game brought to the table and why you kind of chose her to be player of the game.
Well, you see, everyone had. You had your big three in scorers in Heron and Adelman, and you had your big three in the scoring department. And Adelman, I think, had 21 on the night, if I'm not mistaken. But what you saw from her passing department, check. Rebounding department, check. She was a do-all player, and defensively too, creating turnovers for her team. You could have realistically given it to any of the big three that scored over 20 plus that night, but I think Adelman just had a little bit more in the box score, and of course, with her being the senior leader, I think it was right giving it to Adelman on that one.
I have to agree with you, and you had a great talk with her, and we're going to hear that now. Once again, Louisville's player of the game from their win over Chardon, Kelsey Adelman, talking to our wonderful Ty Bartell after their win. So here's what she had to say.
Welcome back, everybody, as I'm here with today's player of the game, Kelsey Edelman. 21 plus points, as well as a plethora of rebounds and assists to help her team in scoring. Kelsey, you guys are 2-1 on the season. 3+ players with 20 plus points. How fun was that game today?
It was great, very exciting, good for us. So
when you have 3 players like that who could score 20 plus points, how much does that help as far as team chemistry and just getting that bond between them and getting that trust built?
It's going to help us a lot for sure. Win more games. First of all, and like you said, trust between each other. Scoring, if we have that many people scoring, just good between us all.
Talking about this too, and you being one of the senior leaders of this team, and just looking at your a reflection of your Louisville history with what you've done with a plethora of sports as well too. What has this community meant to you, and what has it meant to be a Leopard?
It means a lot. I love being here all the time. I love our fans. I love being a part of this community. I don't want to leave, honestly. I'll come back. I love the community a lot.
Talking about that community too, what does it mean now that with COVID restrictions kind of lightening up a little bit, what does it mean to get kind of that community back in support for you guys?
It's very nice having more people and stuff at games. No more of the stress. It's very nice.
As that is our player of the game, Kelsey Adelman again for YSN here versus Chardon. As again, 21 points for the Lady Leopards as part of a 77-point scoring outburst. Kelsey, thank you so much for your time.
Kelsey Adelman, someone that I'm sure we'll be hearing a lot more from as the season goes on. Like you said, a great scorer and a great senior leader for this Leopards team.
I'm excited too, and I mean, once Kendall Loy gets back, I might have to go out to some more Leopards games. If there's openings, I might have to check out this Leopards team some more. They were definitely a fun watch.
You got Ty's a sweetheart now.
Yeah. No, I mean, Louisville was a team though last year too. That was fun to watch when I went out there too. So I mean, I've never been shy to going to Louisville. I think I went there for volleyball too. So I mean, I've always kind of been around Louisville. I do like Louisville's leopard on their court. Like we talk about murals on the wall, the court leopard is really cool, and how that design, that's a really cool floor.
It's a cool floor. It's a very unique color scheme. They used the powder blue that you don't see a lot in high school, which I, as a Royals fan,
yeah, I'm sure you love that, Jim.
I love that powder blue.
You got Anthony as a sweetheart.
There you go. That's all it took. I'm very easy.
Just get powder blue in there, and you're good.
You know, we move on. You double dipped on Saturday, and once again, we're just starting with the games that we were at, and then we'll move on to the other games on Saturday to recap. Liberty with a very impressive win over Western Reserve. It was a close one. It was hard fought. There were some ups and downs on both sides. Ty, wow. I mean, would you call this a statement win early in the season for Liberty to beat a reigning district champion? I know how much Western Reserve lost, but at the end of the day, they're still the reigning district champion.
Still game one. It was still in Western Reserve. You cross over from Grace Division to Scarlet Division in the MVAC. So you're still playing inside the MVAC, just the other division. But this is, I think, a huge win, too, for a Liberty program that we said coming into the season was a wild card. And you saw 4 players with double-digit scoring in Jordan Banks, Sienna Smith, Aaliyah Foster, and Demi Watson. So when you have scoring coming from multiple fronts like that, again, maybe it's just a theme with the Leopards this year, but when you have multiple scoring threats like that, it's very hard to game plan for defensively, and it seemed like someone different from Liberty stepped up each quarter when Western Reserve adjusted to try to defend one player and take them out of the game. Someone adjusted, but I do want to shout out to Western Reserve still played a very good game, only lost by 6, and I mean, Lindsey Jones, the shortest girl on the court, but like I said, with one of the biggest hearts. Oh my goodness. Well, unafraid to go in there with the trees, unafraid to grab rebounds, will shoot it from the outside. I mean, she was an all-around talent too. And I mean, if you want to give her for props to the game, that props do go to her as well on the Western Reserve side.
Lindsey Jones is a spitfire, like one of those Tasmanian devils. I don't know what you want to call her, but fast, fearless, and a motor that never stops going.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, that's exactly what you saw. And I mean, unafraid. I mean, you could block her. You could take her to the ground. She's going to still come right at you. And she gets hers, too. There's no doubt that she gets her points out of it as well.
Don't forget, Lisa Eichert will be coming back to this team eventually. And she'll add a new level of scoring for them, too.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, some of these girls are going to they're going to take some time to get used to the basketball flow again. Olivia Hughes is going to be another big player, I think, down the stretch as the season winds down. So keep watch for Western Reserve. I think they're going to be just fine. It's going to be little bumps in the road early on.
Yeah, I think so too. But you had a chance to catch up with Deidre Watson, the head coach of the Leopards, after this win. I want to hear what she had to say here. So we're gonna catch up with Coach Watson. Oh, lost it for a minute, but now I got it. We're going to catch up with Coach Watson here and hear what she had to say. Let me make it full screen. Sorry, it's a Monday. We're getting there. All right, here's once again Coach Watson from Liberty.
As we are back now with the winning coach of tonight's game, Coach Deidre Watson, in a 64-58 victory. And, Coach, I know there was a lot of ups and downs in this one. How are you feeling after that victory?
It's good to get the first day game jitters out. We started a little bit shaky. And they kind of got a little bit down, but I told them, you know what, just calm down. 10 points is 5 buckets. It's 5 defensive stops. So it's good to get it out the way, and now we can focus on the future.
When you have 4 players, Jordan Banks, Aaliyah Hughes, Demi, as well as Sienna Smith, that are scoring double digits, how hard is that offensively, or how hard is it rather defensively for teams to try to game plan against an offense that's so versatile like that?
Well, that's pretty much what it, in the first half, it was all Aaliyah. And so then they, adjust to Aaliyah. And then you leave, Demi or Sienna off. So it's good. We just try to shift our offense, whatever they're focusing on. It's nice to have 4 to 5 offensive threats. And we have some other people, Kylie and Mia can definitely knock it down too. So.
Talking about that too, I mean, the Liberty community came out to support, and of course we know they always bring the energy too. What has that meant to you as a coach, and do you think to the team as well, having that Liberty community coming out to support them in full force again?
Absolutely. The support that the community gives just fuels the girls' fires, especially when they're down, just being able to cheer them on and knowing that people are behind them. I'm so glad that Liberty comes out and support girls basketball. Girls basketball kind of struggles, but we have a nice following, and it's very good for our program.
And of course, we know you're a coach first, but you're also a mother too. So when you see your daughter going out there and putting up points like that and coming up with big buckets down the stretch, what does that mean to you both as a coach and as a mother?
It makes me proud. I always try to ease back, because as a mother and a coach, I can be overly critical. So, I try to find that happy medium. But I'm very proud as a mother to watch her blossom, to become a team leader. My oldest daughter used to play with her when she was a freshman, and she kind of, coasted under there. But now she's coming into a leadership role, and she's blossoming, and I'm just very proud of her.
And Monday, November 29th, as programming note, as the Lady Leopards will now be at Struthers. Coach, just our last question before you go, give us a little bit of a preview and how the momentum from this win is going to carry over into this game with Struthers now.
Absolutely. Got those first game jitters out the way. Struthers is a very good team. So, we're going to talk tomorrow about defensively what we can do. I know they have a couple girls that can, knock down those threes. So this was a good warm-up for Struthers.
As Coach Watson of the Liberty Lady Leopards joining us, they came away victorious 64-58. You'll find them live Monday night against the Lady Wildcats on ysnlive.com. Thank you so much, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Coach Deidre Watson of the Liberty Leopards giving us her thoughts after the Liberty.
It had to be in user error, probably Anthony Hartwick signing himself off. I was just going to say out of that I really love the fact that our scoreboard, when you see the blue and the red lines on it, I love how it lined up, and Western Reserve was in the blue because they were the home team and Liberty was in the red because they were away. It was just one of those little things that was easy on the mind to see too, and I like seeing that too, because sometimes you have it as the reverse way, and it's unsettling. But when you get it with Western Reserve and the blue, Liberty and the red under that scoreboard, it's always nice.
Sorry about that.
Welcome back, Anthony.
He hit the wrong button again. It's a Monday. Liberty gets the big win over Western Reserve, and that was Coach Watson talking to you about the win.
Yeah, no doubt. And Coach Watson was, like she said too, and like I hinted at before we showed the interview. When you have a different player that could step up each and every quarter, it becomes a nightmare defensively to try to game plan for when everybody can score, because then the double team kind of strategy kind of goes out the window. Then when you have to play straight up defense, everyone just has to guard their man.
All right, some more scores from Saturday on the basketball side of things. Boardman got the 47-43 win over Mooney. This is a knockdown, drag-out just battle. It was gritty. Both defenses forced a lot of turnovers with their press. You saw a lot of even early season jitters from offenses like we've been seeing across the area. Both teams had a player that finished with 15 points. It was Mackenzie Riccatelli for Boardman, leading the team with 15. They got a couple of more contributions than Mooney did, and that's what ended up being the difference. They got more contributions from their post players that Louisville talked about. It's not just one post player either. There's a couple of them down there for Boardman that can really put you in a bad spot.
Yeah, and you're going to have the call on this one on Wednesday, Anthony, and this is going to be a great matchup, though, too, because Boardman, like we said, They work kind of inside out, and they work bigs first, and they get their bigs the ball, and their bigs can score, and they play through their bigs. Where Louisville, they kind of go from the outside in, it feels like, or at least in that Chardon game, they were knocking down threes at least, and when they're able to knock down those threes and open up their offense, I think that's the biggest thing for Louisville. But I think this is going to be another one of those great matchups.
Opposite styles, because at least against Mooney, Boardman didn't shoot the three a ton. They were just content with trying to get the ball inside, letting McKenzie Riccatelli drive and collapse the defense. We'll look for that extra pass to the post after the defense comes and commits to her, things like that. But they also got to the foul line a lot, and really neither team shot well from the free throw line. I mean, I think Mooney was 11 for 26 or something like that at the free throw line. Boardman was 16 for 30. I mean, neither one was much above 50%, which is not what you want to see in that free throw percentage.
And that might be the key for Louisville. I think 16 for 18 in their game, free throw wise.
There's a double-sided coin to that. You got to the free throw line a lot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's half the battle, getting there, forcing fouls, getting other teams in foul trouble. It's got to finish at the free throw line. And hit.
Going back to Western Reserve, there was probably a few missed free throw opportunities that Coach Miller will say, too. I think it was right around the deficit that they made, too. It's you make those free throws, it's a different game. And a lot of coaches, too, will tell you that free throws are a huge part of the game. You got to make your free throws.
Free.
Yeah, you got to make them.
So on Cyber Monday, you get something for free, and there's shots at the charity stripe.
Yeah.
That's going to be in my broadcast tonight. Free throws on Cyber Monday.
Anthony's already previewing his calls for tonight for you.
Oh, man.
Watch out for it sometime between the third and fourth quarter.
Yeah, I'm not saying win.
He's not getting. You can't give away. Then you could just tune in and you could hear that call from Anthony. He wants you to watch the whole game to make sure you.
Rotuno led Mooney with 15 points as well. Olivia Rouser had 9 to add on to Mooney, and Scavina had 7. So both teams found ways to score, but also both teams forced each other into a lot of turnovers, a lot more turnovers than either coach probably would have wanted. I think 33 turnovers for Boardman, 27 for Mooney. That's more than you want out of a team at the end of the game.
Yeah, no doubt. And like we said, first game jitters too, typically for teams, and first week jitters, first few game season jitters too. I mean, for Mooney's sake. But I mean, when you look at it, I mean, it's early. So I mean, these teams are going to figure it out, and they're going to get better as the season goes along. And as like we said too, it's an early game. It was a competitive game. Boardman just came out on top.
Both teams are now 1-1 on the season. As we look at Salem, they got a big win over Austintown Fitch, the team that you're going to be covering a lot this year when they're home, 51-31. And this is a defense in Salem that has just been rolling on all cylinders. Their offense has scored 50 points a game. I mean, 50 against Howland, 51 versus Fitch. Not like shiny, not like amazing offense to either write home about, but their defense has just been extremely locked down, and they allowed 47 to Howland, but that was after I believe Howland had 41 after the end of 3. Very good fourth quarter defense for Salem, and then they hold Fitch, who can score pretty well and can shoot pretty well. They held them to 31 points.
Yeah, and Fitch is one of those teams too that, like you said, if you could lock down that 3 too, that's a big way if you could stop Fitch, because we know Zeta Creaky is one of those ones that she can knock him down from distance. Ayla Ray's coming out now this year as well, and I mean this is a young team in the Falcons, but Salem did what we both expected them to do as the Lady Quakers held their own defensively, and they were able to come up with a huge victory.
You know, we talked about an NE8 wild card on the boys' side in Lakeview. Hubbard is an NE8 wild card on the girls' side, and they get a big win over Ursuline, 44-38. This might be one of those statement wins.
I think it was one I also picked over you, Anthony. So I think that's another check in my column. But no, with
How did Western Reserve do on the boys' side?
Yeah. You got me. I admitted you got me too, but I think I got 2 or 3. Oh, also Liberty, I think was a check on that girls.
Did you pick? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was another.
You're right.
But anyway, looking at
Reserve.
it was a lot of like Western Reserve games. Either they won or they lost, and that's where we came down to.
We're gonna have to review the tape.
Yeah. But taking it that serious. But now looking at this too, Hubbard is one of those with Peyton Silvesco, when she's knocking him down too, and she can knock him down from distance, she can knock him down inside as well. I mean, Hubbard is one of those teams too. If they have that outside shot going, they are very, very tough to stop, because interior wise, they are very good at rebounding. They're very good at getting second chance buckets, and they're very good on interior offense all around. So when they can bring it from the outside a little bit too, and they're scoring on all cylinders, it makes it very, very overwhelming to try to stop. And credit to the Lady Eagles for coming away with another victory.
All right, we are caught up on basketball scores and recaps over the weekend, so we're going to take a quick timeout. On the other end, we're going to not only recap the football playoff games, there were 3 of them over the weekend. We're also going to hear from Josh Upshire,
Badger Boys
basketball coach that we had the chance to pre-record a full coach's corner with. We're going to debut that today as well. That's all coming up next on today's episode of Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends: shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Every one of our vehicles has undergone our own 126-point inspection, so it passes the most important inspection, yours. No other dealership has the extra inventory, gives you extra for your trade, and goes the extra mile for you. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
For a great vehicle and a great experience, come to Boardman Mitsubishi today. As always, our full lineup of Mitsubishi models comes with a standard 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Boardman Mitsubishi, your hometown Mitsubishi dealer since 1999.
Coca's Pizza, always supporting our community and our local athletes. Stop in on game day or score big and have it delivered right to your door. Check out our daily specials at cocaspizza.com. That's Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
At Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need, regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig with you, alongside Ty Bartell. And Ty, it took us a minute, but we have finally completed our recap of the basketball action that we missed over Thanksgiving break.
Yeah, no doubt, as ate up a good majority of our show, good half of our show. But hey, we love talking about it. We love getting the faces of some coaches that we haven't gotten a chance to talk to yet on Running Point this year, and we were able to get their faces on there as well as some players. So it's always a great time too for the first hour of the show.
FaceTime. We had the chance to pre-record an interview with Josh Upshire, the head coach of the boys basketball program, and we want to debut his interview as they get ready for their first game of the year tomorrow, hosting East Palestine. And before we do this, Ty, they also, by the way, released their new uniforms on Facebook today. You can catch those on our social media. They look sharp. So
should be exciting. We're glad to have Badger on the network, as this interview, I think, officially makes 75 coaches that have now been on Running Point, and there's still some work to go. But that is a huge milestone at 75 that have now appeared on Running Point basketball-wise since October.
It's good work, Ty.
We're doing a great job here, and we're glad to have all of our area coaches represent these programs and tell us a little bit about these communities. And no doubt, this is one we're all excited for at YSN, getting a chance to get a look at Badger now.
Without further ado, let's give Badger their Running Point debut as we hear from Josh Upshire, the head coach of the Badger boys basketball team. Hello, everybody, and this is a wonderful edition of Coach's Corner. Well, we hope you all had a happy Thanksgiving. Anthony Hartwig, Ty Bartell here with you with a Badger basketball preview from Josh Upshire, the head coach of the Badgers boys basketball team. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
Coach, as like we like to do with most of our teams, this one's going to be a little bit extra special because Badger, of course, joining the YSN network coverage too. So give us a sort of a meet the team segment to everybody who hasn't had a chance to get to meet this Badger boys program without any experience years prior. Give us a chance now to meet these Badger boys.
So the funny thing is, a lot of times when coaches walk into the gym, it's the first time they see us. the first thing they always do is they come up and say, "Man, coach, you guys are real big," because we do have 6'4", 6'4", 6'5" in our front court. So we are pretty big. We do have some experience coming back from last year. We have 4 starters coming back from last year's group. We have Jack Lindeck, who led us last year in scoring. He's back. We have Brad Hamilton coming back, who is our returning point guard. We do have two of our 6'4" posts coming back, and one in Jeff Logan, who's really big underneath. Then we have another one in Carter Burnett coming back. Carter, had a couple games last year where he had 22 rebounds last year for us. So, other than that, we have some inexperience after that. We do have some kids who played last year for us sparingly. But other than those first 4, we do have some inexperience behind them. We're looking for some guys to step up this year. We want to kind of push the tempo a little bit. I know that's a big thing in basketball now, is pushing the tempo. We're looking to do that a little bit. We want to build upon our defense that we had last year. So we have, we're excited for the season to start on Tuesday, and it's already here.
Yeah, and it does start on Tuesday. You guys will host East Palestine. And with that, I just want to take the time to let you preview the whole schedule as a whole, your conference slate, your non-conference slate, and how much you think it'll prepare you for the end of the season come tournament time.
Yeah, we built some games in there that we don't usually have. We have East Palestine the first game of the season. This will be the first time we've ever had East Palestine. Then game 2, we have Camel, which we usually play Camel every year. I've heard that they're really, really good this year. So we have them on next Friday. And then other non-conference games, we have Josh Scott in the Heartland Christian boys basketball team. We're excited to play them. We have them twice this year. I always love playing Josh. It's always a good battle between us. So we have them in non-conference. We also have Champion in non-conference this year. It's another opponent we've had in the last couple years. We've played them, and then our conference schedule is pretty difficult as well. I know the NAC people usually think that the NAC is not really a tough conference, but our conference this year, at the top, it's pretty heavy with Bristol. They won the district championship last year. Matthews, who played Bristol in the district championship, we have them as well. And then Wyndham is another team that, a lot of people don't know much about. They just joined YSN during the football season, but they have a lot of good athletes that can play and shoot the ball. And just a couple years ago, they made a state record on us. They made 23 threes on us, I believe it was. So they have some talent there. And then also Pima Valley, who's the biggest school in our conference, and they're always big and physical and a challenge for us just because of their size and speed and athleticism. Then we have Maplewood, who's a young basketball team that Coach Urchek over there does a good job of coaching those kids up. And, we always have close games with them. Probably people would call them our biggest rival. And then we have our other league games are Chalker. I know they have a new coach, so I don't know, a lot about what they're going to do, but they have some returning talent that's pretty good. We have Fairport Harbor, who lost a lot of kids last year, but they have a few kids coming back that are pretty good. We have Lordstown, who I know they lost a bunch of kids, but I heard they got a few pieces in this year from Austintown, I believe I heard. So people have said they're going to be pretty good this year, and I know Coach Forrest does a good job over there. And then that's the pretty much our schedule. So we're hoping for that to get us ready to be ready for game 23. The first 22 games are we try to build for that game 23. That's the one that matters to us. We use the first 22 as to get us ready for the postseason and make a nice run.
You mentioned Coach Scott, and we've had the pleasure of having him on the show and talking with him. And I just have to say, he has a great culture and a great thing that he's doing over there with Heartland Christian. Talking a little bit about Badger now and the culture over there with the Braves. What, at the end of the day, does Coach Upshire hope it means to these boys to be a Brave?
For us, it's just making sure that we're giving our best every day, and at the end of the day, like I tell them that it's more than basketball. I'm trying to teach them that we got to compete at anything that it is that we do. We have to compete. When we go for a job, I know a lot of our kids, some want to be engineers, some want to be doctors. I'm just teaching them to compete at everything they do. At the end of the day, if you've competed and you gave your all, then that's all I'm going to ask for you, because like I said, when they graduate and go in the job force, no matter what it is they're going to do, they have to compete for what they do. So that's the culture I'm trying to build here, is just competing every day and try and get better from day one to the day they graduate.
Coach, we're going to be new to the Badger community, and being able to see how well you guys get supported by the people up in Badger. Give everyone in Ysn Nation kind of a preview of how well the community supports you guys and how excited you are to get back to an open capacity gym where you're able to feel the support of everyone that does come out for games.
Yeah. So it was interesting. We just had our first middle school game last Monday. We had our first middle school basketball game for the boys, and we weren't expecting very many people to be here. But our seats were pretty full. People were excited to be out and be back in the gym. So the Badger community is one that when things are going well, they're going to be behind you and supporting you. For instance, the year we made the district run in 19, we played Bristol in the district finals, and they were 3 or 4 deep on the baseline watching our game, and every night the seats were packed. So as long as we go out and we compete every night, fans are going to fill the stands and appreciate what we do. And we do have some school games. We don't have one this year, but we have in the past, and I've watched those a couple of times. And the atmosphere in there is amazing in our gym, and just the support of the student body, in the fans and the parents, and it's been amazing. Like I said, we're just trying to build a culture here that everybody enjoys, and they want to come watch us, and we just want to compete and work as hard as we can.
Looking at this, obviously, like you said, Coach, by the time of game 1 to game 23, this team's probably going to look a lot different. Yeah. In that span, though, and in the group of guys that you've seen and what they've improved on, hint on some things that you really like on points of growth over the summer, and some things you also hope they improve on before, like you said, game 23.
Yeah. I'm the type of coach that loves to change things up defensively throughout, depending on who we play. I'm not much of a zone coach, but I will play zone if it presents itself. So I want my guys to be cerebral, to be able to change things up even mid-game. We've had some games in the past where we go in at halftime and we change some things up defensively to make it more difficult for the opposing team. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I mean, throughout the summer, we didn't have much participation. We only had 11 guys over the summer throughout. We did a couple different things. We went to Mountain Union for a shootout. We had some summer league games here. But we had some pieces that worked pretty hard, and we're looking for that to pay off. Jack Lindeck had a tremendous offseason. We had to play Buckdale down at Mountain Union, and he had a great game. I think he had probably 15, 20 points in that game. That was, we have to be prepared for teams to take him out. Especially maybe not the first time around in the league, but eventually they're going to take him out, and we're going to need some other guys to step up. And, we expect Brad Hamilton, who will be our 3rd year starting point guard for us. We expect him to step up and continue to do the things that he's done last year and continue to do it this year. We'll expect Carter Burnett to continue to rebound, and he's going to have to pick up the scoring a little bit. We struggled last year when one of the teams against us went a triangle on 2 and took our top 2 out, and we're going to need those other guys to step up and continue to improve and be able to score when, they take our top two options away.
Coach, every team has a unique kind of personality to their squad, something that makes them very unique to other teams. How would you describe this team's personality and what it's like kind of be with them every day and be able to coach them?
So with this team, not that it's a bad thing, but my team is really, really nice. My team is, we're the type of team where if we knock a guy down, we're helping him up. So, I'm trying to get them to at least let the play finish before we help somebody up, But this team, I love being around these guys. I tell them every day, they're like my sons, but at the end of the day, I love these kids, and I love the way that their work ethic and the way they get after it. I know I yell and scream and things like that at them, but at the end of the day, I love these kids. They get after it. Super nice. Like I said, sometimes I like them to be a little tougher, but you can't replace the things these kids do. The community loves these guys. So, if I could say one thing, these kids are these young men are a little too nice at times. So we'd like to pick that up a little bit.
Everyone in that community over in Kinsman, Ohio is going to support you guys heavily throughout the season. But if there's anybody now that they're getting introduced to your program, and there's obviously some excitement with some height, and you hear that a team's pushing tempo, but what's kind of the sales pitch for anybody who's thinking about coming out to a Badger Boys game this year to come out and check you guys out?
The excitement. We bring energy. I know I bring energy at the end of every game. I feel like I just played 32 minutes. There aren't many games where I'm sitting down on the bench. I'm usually up, getting after it a little bit. Sometimes I feel like I'm out there playing defense with them as well. Just the energy we bring. We try to bring that energy every time we're on the floor. Every minute we're on the floor, we try to bring that energy. Try to make it fun basketball. Like I said, we're trying to do some things different than we have in the past. I like to watch. I'm a student of the game. I love to watch basketball, whether it's college. I don't typically watch much NBA, but I do watch certain coaches and what they do in the NBA and the things that they do well. And I try to gear towards what we have and how that can be implemented into what we do. So, we're going to try and get the ball up 60 times a game. 20, 25 threes a game, as crazy as that sounds. We're trying to get it up, and with our length, try and get the rebounds if we're not making it that night. And basketball seems to be a lot funner when you're pushing the tempo and you're scoring a lot more and the game's up and down, then you're coming down, holding the ball for minutes at a time. So people come watch our game, you're going to see up tempo and sometimes maybe a few dunks here and there, but we should be interesting to watch for sure.
You sold me on dunks. As soon as I heard dunks, I said, okay.
We had the Carter Burnett kid had about 15 of them last year. So,
and Coach, we know that although the head coaches get the spotlight, they get the post-game interviews, they get everything like that, they can't do it without an amazing staff behind them. And I want to give you the chance to highlight your basketball staff and the people that kind of make this Badger program what it is.
Yeah. My coaching staff's amazing. I've said that from day one that I have one of the top coaching staffs in the area, I feel like. We have Pat Carney, who's also our athletic director. He's my JV coach. Pat does a good job with our offense. I kind of call him the offensive coordinator. He does a good job of watching film and seeing what would work for us and breaking things down. We have Dusty Carr, who was our freshman coach the last couple of years. He's actually moved down to the middle school level, but he does a great job with our defense and putting things in there. I'm very appreciative for Dusty. He was a girls varsity basketball coach for several years here. He's come over to our side and done a tremendous job on the defensive side of the ball. We actually added a new coach this year. Some people may know him. Some people may not. He was the Lordstown girls coach for a long time, Dave Smith. Coach Sarah Cash at Lordstown was at JFK the last couple of years. We brought him over to our side. So he's helping at our middle school level. And even our youth coaches, like I got to give a shout out to them. Our youth coaches are huge in what we do. And, I brought my dad and my uncle on board this year to help us out. And, they've been behind me since day one. So I wanted to give them an opportunity to be able to coach at the youth level. So, they're going to coach my son actually this year. I have a couple of former alumni helping coach our youth level. I always tell our alumni, we'd love to have you come back and coach for us if you ever want to. So a couple of them have asked to come back and coach this year. So Nick Senafani and Jacob Miller have come on board to help coach as well. And then, we have Corey Arnold, who is a former alumni here, and Bill Pallett, his son, is helping as well, or is playing as well. So, I got to give kudos to my youth coaches as well, because without my youth coaches, it would, that's where everything starts. And, everybody usually just sees the high school level, but they don't understand that youth is where it all starts. So, I have to give a shout out to my youth guys as well.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join us for this pre-recorded interview. We'll be glad to have this one premiere on Running Point. And for anybody interested, you could catch the Badger Boys premiering their first time ever on YSN Live on Tuesday, November 30th. Matt Morrison will have the call as they open up the season with East Palestine. Coach, thank you again so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
And that was the head coach over in Badger for the boys basketball program, Josh Upshire. What an honor it was to hear from him and kind of give Badger their debut on Running Point as we talk to him, and we'll continue to cover him throughout the season. We're so excited to cover our Badger boys basketball and girls basketball and Badger athletics for the future and beyond.
Yeah, and I mean, boys start tomorrow. Girls game tonight. Matt Morrison has the call for both of them. So Badger are going to be on the network tonight and tomorrow, girls and boys side. So be sure to check them out.
Yeah, and when you look at it, we have some more stuff to get to today. I mean, we still have to recap the football playoff games that we had, and we still have to pick the games that are going to be played tonight.
Yeah. So we should probably get to that. First and foremost, do you want to do the football recaps, or we want to go through these games real quick?
And here's a breaking news too, because we have a new guest alert. We're going to have Sam Mathias come on the show today as well at 1:40.
Yep. Sebring girls basketball coach. So, I mean, like you said, you never know. It could be in the 11th hour before someone finally decides to show up on Running Point. But you know what? We're always welcoming. We're always bringing guys in, and we're excited to talk to Coach Mathias. However we can get him, we get him. And it just so happened to work out today. It worked in his time. He texted me, and I said, heck yeah, I want to bring you on.
Awesome. So that being said, and he'll take us right into probably the end of the show when we wrap it up. Let's go into our picks and just kind of mow down these games. You can also pick with us on the Twitter. I sound like an old man.
The Twitter. The Twitter.
Oh man.
Social media with Anthony Hartwig.
The Twitter. Our Twitter at Running Point YSN. Pick with us. We'd love to hear who you think is going to win. All the polls are in the thread, so you just go to the tweet that says girls basketball thread for today, and you just boop, 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 all the replies. You can just go through and vote for every game on tonight with the YSN family of teams. So we start, and we're just going the top of the schedule. Cheney going to Wellsville tonight. This game will not be on YSN. It is happening. Ty, we're just going to go right through these. Who you got?
Yeah, give me Wellsville in this one.
All right, I'm going to go Wellsville as well. This one next, Jackson Milton at Heartland Christian. This is an interesting one. I'm going to go Jackson Milton. Heartland still trying to find a identity on offense.
I'll go Jackson Milton as well.
All right, next on the lineup, Matthews will be at Warren JFK. We talked to Warren JFK last week. This is an impressive team that start off to a 2-0 start. Matthews, they've given a couple teams some trouble. They're a solid basketball program. I'm still taking JFK to go 3-0.
So am I. JFK, fly, Eagles, fly.
Do the one-arm eagle. Okay, Akron North going to Waterloo. This is Waterloo all the way. Go Vikings.
Sweetheart. Give me the Waterloo Lady Vikings.
Bristol going to Badger. Matt Morrison on the call for this one.
Badger. They got to come out with a big win for the network.
YSN debut in Badger. The girls kick it off. I'm going to say Badger as well. This is Champion going to Niles. This one not on the network is happening. I know the Flash has got a big win over the weekend over Lakeview.
They impressed me.
I'm going to get Champion to win today.
Yeah, I'll ride with Champion as well. They impressed me.
All right, we continue on the slew of things. Alec Coburna will have this one called from Springfield as the Tigers open their season with Crestview coming to town. Crestview 0-2, but that record kind of deceiving because they have had very good glimpses of spots against two very quality opponents.
Yeah, what was this game again? I'm sorry, I lost that hearing on you.
Sorry, Crestview at Springfield.
Crestview at Springfield. Give me Springfield in this one. I know they're gonna be getting adjusted, but I think Springfield could still pull it off. I think they're gonna be favorites this year.
Give me the Tigers as well at home, opening the season under Coach John Matese. We move on. Big rivalry. East Liverpool at Beaver Local. Ty. This one is going to be called by Mike McKenzie on the network. Ty, who you got?
This one's tough because East Liverpool's looked really good, but Beaver Local's been impressive. I got to ride with Beaver Local on this one. Give me Beaver Local.
I'm going to stick with you. Beaver Local gets the win at home in the big rival. East at Latonia. Eric Hughes will have the call for this one. What do you got with this?
This is tough because East can be competitive, but being at Latonia, give me the Lady Bears.
I'm going to split with you for the first time today. I'll go East. I think their size will give Latonia some.
Yeah, and that's what I was worried about, but we'll see.
Garfield. Garfield going to Middle Ridge.
Give me
Garfield.
Yeah, Lady G-Men on that one.
The G-Men. Gerard going to LeBray.
That's tough.
You got Briley Daniels at LeBray that knows how to score, but Gerard looks really impressive against Crestview. Sometimes reckless with the ball. I'm going to take LeBray.
I was going to go LeBray as well, too, and Briley Daniels was going to be my answer for it. So
all right, there you go. We're both on the same page. Lakeview goes to Ursuline. Ursuline, they lost to an NE8 school in Hubbard over the weekend. Another wild card in the NE8 comes to town tonight. How do you think this one's going to go? Lakeview, they've looked good. They've looked they've been kind of inconsistent, but a lot of teams have in the beginning of the year.
I got to go with Ursuline in this one. I think Ursuline's got to be, especially being at home, and I just got to feel like after what Coach Scott's going to be able to do, I think they're going to be able to bounce back. I got to go with Ursuline on that one.
I'm going to roll with you. I can't get off of Ursuline right now. I think they're going to be a good team. Can't sway me from picking them. Struthers hosting Liberty. This one will be called by Bob Zanny. I went first last time. You take this one first.
They're on the road, but they're road warriors. They already impressed me. Give me the Lady Leopards on that one. I'm going Liberty.
Give me the Leopards as well. If they play as well as they did against Western Reserve, they're going to be a tough team to beat this year. We go Maslin Perry going to Howland. Noah Ricks on the call here for this one.
Howland's done getting their heart broken. Give me the Lady Tigers in this one.
I saw Perry against Canfield. They're a very good team. They have a couple of players that are already signed to play in college. I'm going to go Perry.
Perry's probably the favorite, but I got to feel like Howland's going to get sick of these close losses sooner or later, and they're going to come out on the winning end of it.
All right, you're going to be on the call for this one. Poland opens the season, and they go to Austintown Fitch. Ty, we don't know a lot about what Poland's going to look like. And this is a hard one to pick.
And I mean, I might just be biased. I might be a homer, but I'm going to go with Fitch just because of the game experience. Winning one, losing one, playing Salem, a tough team. I know Poland always. I know Coach Blanche is going to bring a great team. I'm excited to talk with him tonight, and I'm excited to see what the Lady Bulldogs bring. And it very well they could spoil the home opener. But I just feel like Lady Falcons, with a couple games experience, that might pay off tonight and being at home.
Poland's defense gets them through the offensive struggles to start the season. I think
Anthony's just trying to get these trim the lead that I've made on him now.
I'll split with this one. Salem goes to South Range, a big rivalry in the area. South Range, they have one game on their slate, but it was against one of the best teams in the state. But Salem has looked very good, especially their defense. Who you got in this one?
Well, it's your pick first. I picked Fitch first last one. Yeah, it's your pick.
By the way, I'll be on the call for this one at South Range. Their home opener, I'm going to take Salem. I think their defense is too strong for a South Range team that is still trying to find their offensive identity.
I was going to take Salem as well. I think South Range needs a couple more games to adjust.
I'm right along with you. St. Thomas Aquinas travels to United. United put up a really strong fight against Jackson Milton last week. They get their home opener tonight. Thomas Aquinas, strong team coming in. Who you got?
I'm going to go with United in this one. I think United just drew with a tough team in Jackson Milton. I mean, obviously, St. Thomas Aquinas, I don't know exactly what they're bringing, but I know they've had success prior. But I'm going to go with United on this one.
Chris Sigler will be on the call at United for that game. Next, we go to Lisbon. They are hosting Toronto. This game will be on the network, but will be video only, no announcer. So who do you have?
I got Lisbon in this one.
I'll take Toronto on this one. I'll split with you there. And then last but not least, Valley Christian travels to Newton Falls. The school will be taking care of this one. I will take Valley Christian to get the win.
Yeah, I was going to do the same. I'll take Valley as well.
All right. So it concludes our picks for tonight. And Sam Matthias, sorry about that. Sam Matthias is on the green room, so we're going to pop him in. Coach of the Sebring girls basketball program, and we're going to pop him in now. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Hey, thanks a lot. You did very well with the name there. I've heard people butcher it a lot worse than that.
We've been tight for a while, so you think by now I'd be able to say it.
Right.
Coach, I mean, I've gotten the chance. Anthony's gotten the chance to kind of see this team, but for anyone that hasn't gotten the chance to see this team in the first couple games this season, I always like to start off with a sort of meet the team segment and highlight some of these big name players that we've seen early on in the season, and maybe some younger players that you think might get some playing time.
Well, we've got a lot of youth this year, and when people say they're young, they usually have like freshmen and sophomores that have played up through their program, but when I say young, I have youth. I probably have 3 or 4 girls that have never played basketball before. All of my freshmen have not played since they were 7th graders because we didn't have a junior high team last year. So when I say young, we're making huge transitions into the varsity level right now. Our 2 leaders this year, our 2 seniors, are 3-year letter winners coming back, Devin and Delaney Regai. They are kind of the 2 kids that drive us forward. They pretty much have handled the ball for the last 3 years for me, do a tremendous job. They're not that big, so they're like outsized every time that they step on the floor, but 2 of the hardest working girls that you ever want to see. Our other big starter that's back this year is Blake Thomas. She'll be a sophomore. Blake's had a couple nice games for us to start out. She kind of broke out of her shell. We were hoping to get that out of her last year, and it kind of came toward the end of the season, so we're happy to see her develop and be more aggressive for us this year. The rest of them, I mean, we have 2 other returning letter winners with Alexis Bird as a junior and Emma Sievers as a sophomore who got time last year with us only having 7 players. They got to play a lot of minutes. This year we have 13, so we have 1 junior, Mallory Harshman, who this is her first year of playing. Very athletic girl. She's going to help us out a lot. We're really excited about her. Sophomores, Jenny Eccleberry, Nevaeh Sainer, and Alex Leonard. None of them. 2 of them have never played. Jenny hasn't played since her 7th grade year. So they're just trying to get into the speed of the game, learning, and so forth. And then our freshmen, Jordan Pittman, Mila Thomas, Kiera Weekly and Shannon Abrig, again, all who haven't played since their 7th grade years. But every one of them are coming in. They're wanting to practice hard. They're wanting to pick up the speed of practices to get better for games. And we're really excited about where we're going right now.
Coach, like Ty said, I mean, me and him have both had the opportunity to see you guys already this year. And one of the things I took away from your game that I got to call at Camel, man, Delaney Ray Guy, man, she's like a catalyst to your team. It felt like when she fell out of the game at Camel, that's when things started to go a little bit not your way. Talk about what she means to you guys on the floor and how much of a leader she is, not just with her ability, but her vocability too.
Well, Delaney's not very vocal. I mean, she can be around the team, but around all the people, she's not going to be. But a leader on the floor, I mean, I praise her daily in practice for how hard she goes and the example that she sets for the rest of the team and the younger girls. And I think they're starting to see that in how she's played the last 2 games here. So she is the driving force around us. We want the ball in her hands. She makes good decisions. She sees the floor very well. In the game against Campbell, it did hurt us when she did foul out of the game, but it also helped us a little bit in learning. And we got some kids on the floor that may or may not have gotten on the floor that night if Laney hadn't fouled out, but it gave them good experience that will hopefully help us as we go into the rest of the season here.
And I mean, obviously, Coach, when you're looking at this kind of team and you're looking at a conference, of the MVAC, it's a very tough conference. And it's one that's going to obviously test you. It's going to challenge you early on in the season. And then at least in the game I saw when you did play Latonia out of conference schedule is Blake Thomas is one of those players that I feel like is she always has so much energy, and she always brings that heart and passion to the game. When you see her going for a rebound, when you see her fighting defensively, she never gives up on a play, and I have a lot of respect for those type of players. When you look at players like that, is that the kind of mold you want to see defensively out of these girls going into this season, competing against a tough MVAC conference?
Oh, absolutely. We're going to have to play tough every night. Like you said, our conference is very tough. Maybe not as strong last year because McDonald and Western Reserve, they graduated a lot. But still, Springfield, Jackson Milton, and those 2 schools are going to have a ton coming back. Louisville is a lot better this year. I mean, she's got like 20 girls out over there, and they're playing hard already. Ridge has a new coach. Waterloo's coach. He always has them prepared. But when the kids are watching Laney and Blake, they're seeing what we want in the program. And I've always told the girls, I'm like, we know that we don't have the height or maybe the talent that some of these other teams do, but we can always play hard. We can always go out there, give our best, be the best that we can be, and see what happens at the end. And that's something that we build upon daily, as in playing hard, playing smarter. We've got girls that are aggressive, but you got to know how to handle that aggressiveness. And some of these new girls, they're learning how to do it. Blake gives a great example of it. Laney and Devin both give great examples of it. And it's just something we're building upon here. And like I said, we're excited for the season this year.
Yeah, when you look at all the tough teams you play in conference and out of conference, how well do you think your team will be prepared come the end of the season when you get a tournament draw and you have to go and play tournament games?
Well, we're going to be prepared. I mean, Springfield, Jackson Milton, probably McDonald and Reserve, they're going to come. They're going to press. Louisville's going to press this year. Mineral Ridge, I heard their coach talking. They want to get out and get after teams. And that's something that we prepare for. I mean, one of our scrimmages was against Columbiana, and we knew that Columbiana likes to press. We got St. Thomas. He's got a bunch of young kids over there that they like to get up and down the floor. East Palestine, he's got a young group that's hungry right now that got to get up and down the floor. So we've seen all that kind of stuff. It's just, can we make the right decisions at the right time to be successful?
Coach, as we always like to do, and like you said too, it starts too with those youth programs, and when you have to build these girls up into varsity players, building that culture really starts at the younger level. So I want to give you the chance to shout out your staff and some other big proponents that are going into the Sebring girls basketball and building that culture and that foundation back up to what it can be.
Well, I am very lucky that I have former players that are on staff right now. Katie Butler is my assistant and JV coach. We're working some skill building stuff at the junior high level, not having a team again this year with low numbers. Our elementary numbers have been really good. Even last year with the COVID, we had really good numbers there. This year, we're pushing 18 to 20 kids, which for a school our size is very good. Jory Zamuda and Maggie Skelton, who are both former players for me as well, are down there. They're having a tremendous time down there. They're having fun. The girls are having fun. We just had elementary recognition night the other night against Leetonia, and most of the girls got to show up for that, and they were so excited to be there and do some drill work in front of their parents so they could see what they're doing. And Maggie and Jory are praising them on how hard they're working and how they're getting there. And we're just trying to build that culture. Like when those girls were there is the last time that we went to a district championship game, and I was coaching them then. So having those players in there, they know what we need to have at the varsity level. They know what it takes to be successful and to win games. And it's nice to talk to the girls that we have on the team now and say, listen, this is what we got to do. Ask Coach Butler, ask Coach Zamuda. They all had to go through this. They were successful doing it. Was it easy? No, but these are the things and steps we have to take to be successful.
You know, Coach, you're not new to building a program and watching a program succeed. What do you think are some of the most important steps to getting this Sebring program to the level that you want it to be and the level that you know the girls want it to be as well?
Well, I think we've got a good start in having people involved, the coaches that know what it takes to be there. We're starting to get more and more of the kids involved. The staff at Sebring, the elementary teachers have contacted me on when they were going to start elementary stuff back in October. The high school staff is really good with communicating with me with how the girls are doing and who might be interested, and if we have a scheduling conflict for a girl that might be like on academic challenge or something like that. So everybody has their own little part in what they do and how they help us build this program. And I'm very fortunate that the Sebring community, staff, and everybody involved in this is willing to work with us to help build this back to where it used to be. Years ago, it was successful, and we had a successful group when I was there the first time. And it's a slow process. Like I said, small numbers, but I think we're getting the kids more and more interested, and things are looking up for us.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. It was wonderful to get a chance to sit down, talk with you, give us a preview of Sebring girls basketball. We look forward to our continued coverage of you guys, and we know that we'll talk to you again real soon.
All right. Thanks, guys. We enjoy what you're doing. Keep it up.
Thank you, Coach.
Sam Mathias, the head coach of the Sebring girls basketball team, joining us live on Running Point here on a Monday afternoon. Ty, we have a couple of more games that are going on between YSN schools that are on the road, therefore not on the YSN schedule. But I do want to give them a shout out and maybe make a pick on them as well. I want to start with Canfield heading to Stowe. Canfield, the tough loss, obviously, with the weekend to Marlington. The schedule does not get any easier. I'll pick Canfield to still get the win.
Yeah, I think they can still bounce back. I think I'll pick Canfield as well with this one.
All right, we continue down the list. Let's see. I'm just trying to pick out the ones that Wyndham going to Pymatuning Valley, Ty.
Yeah. Give me Pie Valley in this one.
I'll take Pie Valley as well. Not going to split on that. Let's see some of the other ones that we got that are at non-YSN schools. McDonald going to Lake Center Christian. I think that's the last one we got. Nope, one more.
McDonald lost a lot, but I still got to go with the Lady Blue Devils.
After seeing what they did last week, the 56-5.
Yeah.
Nah, give me McDonald. Their defense is still legit. Blue Devils are going to win tonight. Last one, Edison will be traveling to Indian Creek.
Give me Coach Smith and Edison Lady Wildcats on that. No, let's get Edison on that.
Give me Indian Creek. I think they're one of the premier programs in that conference. I think they'll get the win over Edison tonight. So we split on that one. So those are all of our picks. Before we get out of here, I do want to go and see how the fan voting is doing to see what you guys think will win some of these games. As we look at United, they're up 93% to 7. JFK is up 92% to 8. Newton Falls with a slight edge over Valley Christian, 53% to 47. That's going to be a toss-up according to the fans. We look at Salem South Range. Salem has the narrow 56-44 advantage, 16 votes on that poll. Poland, 79% to 21% over Austintown Fitch. Howland with the 82% to 18% advantage over Perry. Let's see. The fans think that Liberty is going to beat Struthers, 71% to 29. The fans think Girard is going to beat LeBray, 64% to 36%. You look at Garfield versus Middle Ridge, 79% to Garfield, 21% to Middle Ridge. A close one between Beaver Local and East Liverpool, but they think Beaver Local is going to win 62% to 38%. Latonia has a 73% to 27% edge. I think people are not expecting the size of East. It might give Latonia some trouble. We don't know. Springfield has a 62% to 38% lead over Crestview. Champion with a 82% to 18% lead over Niles. And Bristol with a 60% to 40% lead over Badger. You look at Waterloo, they have a 62% to 38% over Akron North. Jackson Milton, 88%. Heartland, 12. Wellsville has a 58% to 42% lead over Cheney. Ursuline, 74% to 26% over Lakeview. And Lisbon has a 73% to 27% lead over Toronto. Take a deep breath. That's a lot of picks, and we thank everyone at YSN every fan at YSN for being a part of it and going on and making their votes. It's going to be a wonderful night on the network. Go to ysnlive.com/live to see who we will all have covered and what action you can watch. There's a lot of games on the network tonight. Make sure to pick one and watch one if you can't go out and support yourselves in person.
Yeah, no doubt. Get out there and support. And if you can't, we got you covered right here on the network.
Another scheduling thing we have update, I should say. Wednesday at 1:40, we'll be talking to Jeff Brink, the head coach of the Springfield boys basketball team. Just confirmed that on the air today. So we'll be talking to him on Wednesday. And that'll check off Springfield. We checked off Sebring today. So this week we'll have two more teams checked off as far as coaches' corners on Running Point.
Yeah, and that's another one where you could find them here on Running Point. We're always here for the best coach coverage of basketball teams here.
And Wednesday we'll also be Wrestling Wednesday with Gary Alsizer, which will be also very fun in the first hour. And we also have Scotty. So Wednesday, don't miss that. But before we get there, we have to get to tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a fun day as well, where we'll do what we did today. Recap all the action from tonight, talk about it, get some post-game interviews up, and then we'll pick the boys' games that are going on tomorrow, as we have a full slate of boys' basketball tomorrow, just like girls today.
Yep, and tune in on the network where you can find it.
Me and Ty, we're taking a 22-hour break. We'll see you guys all tomorrow, 12 to 2. Casual Sports Podcast coming up next from 2 to 3. And then Power Hour will be taking care of you from 3 to 4, and then a whole slew of basketball games on the network tonight, most of which are tipping off at 7. Some of which, though, 5:30 with limited JV. So make sure you check that ysnlive.com/live to know what time your preferred game is starting.
Yep, find all of it here on ysnlive.com.